But if there's one thing that this old farm boy understands as I get out in your schools every day, and as I look into your faces, is that people are tired. People are frustrated, and we really have the perfect storm in terms of all the things that are occurring right now for educators, and not just in Hall County, but across the state and across the nation in terms of what's coming down. And I just want to put that in perspective in terms of where your district stands on TKES, the Common Core, SLOs, you name it, reduced calendar days, all of the pressures, more kids in classrooms that people are feeling. I think I'm the only person in this room that 3 guys can get together tonight and decide I don't work here anymore, and I accept that. But assuming they don't do that anytime in the near future, let me be crystal clear, and we've talked about this for at least 6 months, and I want to reiterate it, and I want every teacher that has an interest to be able to hear it also. Folks in the Hall County School District are not going to get poor evaluations, lose their jobs, give up Christmas with their families because of all of the things that are coming down on us right now in terms of all the changes that we're being required to make. I have suggested to you principals for at least 6 months that probably the most important role you can play this year with your people is to recognize the fact that 90% plus of your teachers do not need a boss. They do not need more to do. What they need is someone to come alongside them and say, this is a work in process. Whether it's SLOs, whether it's TEKS, whether it's the Common Core, whether it's the unit assessments, let's just take a deep breath. Let's get through this thing, and let's realize that the real goal is that 3 to 5 years from now we can look back and say, this is really a transformational move forward. Our schools are better because we participated in this work. Now, as we also have said, whether it was TEKS, whether it was the G-Toy, whether it was something that we made up ourselves, if people are struggling and not doing what they need to do in terms of supporting boys and girls, this doesn't change anything. We're going to move forward. But that is a small fraction of our teaching staff. Our folks need to know at the end of every day that this is a monumental work, there's an awful lot to be done, and folks, let's just take a deep breath and enjoy it. Let's take the pieces in isolation and talk about them very quickly. Number one, the common unit assessments. The common unit assessments were never designed so that I could compare a world language to McEver, to Mount Vernon, to Lyman Hall. The common unit assessments, and I'm seeing it already, have one of the greatest potential of anything I've seen in 26 years to elevate the conversation and to be crystal clear about what we would like children to know at the end of a particular unit, whether they're at Chicopee Woods or whether they're at North Hall High School. That is the purpose of the common assessments. And if folks think there's somebody behind the screen looking at the scores and trying to compare how Flowery Branch and North Hall High School compare, then you have completely missed the purpose of the common assessments. Anybody who's spent 15 minutes in Understanding by Design knows the greatest thing we can do to elevate the level and the consistency of quality teaching going on in all of our classrooms is to make crystal clear what the expectation is kids are to know how to do. That is all that is behind the common assessments. So when teachers start saying, oh my goodness, it's taken me 3 days to complete the common, then give that feedback to your principal and we'll work on it. And we'll make it better. I hear other people say, well, I see some of my colleagues that are using it during class time and they're going over 3-4 questions at a time. Wonderful. What an incredible opportunity to model what it is we want kids to know and how we want them to be able to articulate that to us. So the message I'd give on the common assessments is the tool, the common assessments were designed to give us a common language, to give us a reason to sit around the table as a group of high school math teachers or as a group of 4th grade teachers and say, this is what kids need to know how to do. And my goodness, we might have to change some things in the way that we might have to share. We might have to go over to that other school and steal what they're already doing and try to elevate the practice. Enough said about the common performance. They're not to rate each other, and it's not a competition. It is a teaching tool. It is an assessment for instruction, which is what it's supposed to be. The Common Core. We are bought into the Common Core 1,000%. I just want people to know. The Common Core has great potential over a period of 5 to 7 years to give us for the first time common expectations across at least 47 of our 50 states in terms of what children ought to know. I think that you can't come up with a negative to me for that. So in terms of the Common Core, I think it's good. It's a work in process. I know we've got a lot to do, but yes, we're sold on the Common Core. Now, in particular, the new teacher evaluation system. And again, just between us girls, let's be real honest. What we've had in terms of the GTEP has been pretty good in terms of weeding out people that probably never needed to teach, but it has been useless in terms of providing support to good teachers in terms of how they can get better. The new TEKS has tremendous potential to support teachers and to elevate the discussion about what should be going on in classrooms. However, just in the last 6 days, I have learned that there are all kinds of challenges behind the scenes in terms of the technology infrastructure to support TEKS. And as of yesterday, Dr. Barron recommended to me, and I said, we just need to put everything on hold until that gets taken care of. I know how busy people are, I know how tired you are, and as good as TEKS can be, if we have got people entering 3 hours of data and then logging on the next day and it's gone, we don't have time to do that. So here's my message to you on TEKS. I think the process holds great potential. I think 5 years from now we are going to have a teacher evaluation system in Georgia that we can be proud of, that supports all teachers in terms of taking it to the next level. But again, I look into your faces, I get into your buildings, I feel your frustration, your emails and your phone calls. Just please take it off the table right now until we get some of these things taken care of. And I don't know whether that'll be 3 days, 3 weeks, or never. But you need to hear from us that as important and as positive as I think TEKS can be, if what it is doing is breaking our people down and frustrating them in a time when we just don't have a whole lot of marbles in the jar right now, then we just need to stop until we can make it better. So I wanted you to hear my heart, and it's your board's heart also. I know sometimes teachers and principals think, oh, you guys, and you lovingly call it the ivory tower. You don't get it. I get it. I get it. I'm out there with you. I'm not good at much, but I can look into a face and see frustration. And when my best people are feeling frustration and starting to say, maybe I just need to retire, I'm not sure I can do this, then it's time to say, time out, let's figure this out. So I wanted you to hear that. Again, I know you've been telling your teachers that, but I asked Jimmy Smith to video this morning because I'm going to ask him to put it in a clip, and I want every one of our teachers to be able to hear that same message. That you know what, this is important work. It's work that we need to grab and we need to lock arms and figure out and move forward. And again, I am firmly convinced 5 years from now we're going to say education in Georgia is world class and it's better because we've embraced this. But the intention has never been to drive people into the ground. And I understand that's what some of these things are doing right now. I can't speak to you about the challenges some of you have had, but I know they exist with SLOs and the fact that you got to be kidding me. This is not what SLOs aren't going to be perfect. And again, I would tell you that it's the same philosophy that we just talked about with everything else. Please see it as a work in progress. And when you get a SLO that's not reasonable and you're thinking, how in the world do I pull this off? Just get a chuckle out of it and move on and teach the Common Core. Give feedback to our children, build relationships with them, and again, we have to look at the long term. So teachers, I just want to tell you, thank you for what you're doing. We understand the frustration you and your principals and your assistant principals are going through, and this is important and solid work that we're participating in.